Our next topic, why do we accept it? Which we touched on a little bit about of how why we expect it, but why do we accept it is because the same thing we talked about. We put it we believe we have belief systems in place that tells us people will lie. So we have to pick and choose what lies we're going to accept and what lies we're not going to accept. And we have to navigate through all the lies versus building a relationship on truth. So we accept it because we want what we want in a moment. One, we built a relationship halfway and we can't see ourselves starting all over again. We might as well finish building the rest of the relationship, right? So we don't want to lose what we already invested. So we invest more and lose more in the process, right? Or we just don't, we just don't have the courage to be honest ourselves about us being in a relationship where people are lying to us. So we're not being honest that we deserve better. We deserve more. We're not saying, look in the mirror, like I signed on to be in a relationship where I have a foundation of truth. So everything else is secure. My whole relationship will be secure because it's fundamentally an honest relationship. It's fundamentally a genuine relationship. It's fundamentally a truthful relationship. So we accept it because our self-esteem is not high enough to say we deserve better.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that we accept it because we also believe that people make mistakes, and that because of that, lying is within that realm of mistakes. Like, people are gonna make the mistake of not being as truthful for whatever reason they decided at the moment, even though not being truthful is a choice, less a mistake. But people believe it as such. They believe that it's something that it's something that they didn't necessarily, they made the mistake to not be honest, and people are a lot more accepting of that.
Definitely. I mean, and it goes beyond that. We not have to start seeing lying as a choice. Even if
Yeah,
we're
lying
lying,
is,
even if we're lying because we believe it's for the greater good, we did make that choice. So we have to deal with the consequences that come with that.
mm-hmm.
But we accept it because we're not ready to deal with consequences. We look at consequences as a punishment all the time. Consequences is just it's the cause and effect of what our actions display. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely.
So we have to already view the consequences or see what could happen going forward if we decide to make this choice and then make choices off of being more mindful. So I would say we accept it a lot more because we're entering relationships mindlessly and we're coexisting in relationships mindlessly. We're not existing being mindful and truly being mindful of what the actual relationship needs to flourish. We're thinking of what we need. Sometimes we always thinking about what they need, but we're never thinking about what the relationship needs. And
Yeah.
that's the most important concept. Like, you have to understand when you merge a relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's being a spouse, whether it's raising children, you are saying to yourself, I have to do what's best for the relationship as a whole. And it should be, and what's best for relationships should be what's best for both people. And is this lie the best thing for the relationship going forward? Is it going to help the foundation of the relationship stand strong and stand the test of time?
Yeah, I agree. And I think that things are often lies are often accepted because it's not discussed as a core value when you are establishing a relationship. So you establish a relationship with somebody and you automatically assume that honesty is a given, right? You automatically go in thinking that you should be honest, but nobody ever talks about what it should or shouldn't be. No one goes in and saying, like, I absolutely believe in honesty and this is the type of relationship that I want, right? And
I think most people go in saying that. Now, do they allow that, or do they make sure that they stick to it and don't allow people to cross that boundary?
I think it goes
I
I
think
think it's a
most
little.
people say, I don't, I want, first thing you ask a person, they're like, I want honesty. It's the first thing. I would say that's the number one answer when you ask anybody, what do you want in a relationship? I want honesty. That might be the number one reason. We should take a poll on this. We should actually put the
Actually, yeah, we should take a
we should
poll.
put the question up. But I think when people read it and knowing the page and knowing our platform, I think they kind of answer based on which obviously we think is a lie, right? We think
But I guess
to
so.
some degree
You're right. So you're right about that. I
people read
stand.
their company, like what you said, they manage their company. So I think the number one, I know the number one answer I get is I want honesty. It's number
I
one.
mean, I stand correct. I think so. I've been in quite a few relationships, and I'm not even talking just romantic. I'm talking friendships, relationships, and a lot of my interactions at some point in my life were just this what people would call organic connection, where we didn't really talk about those
Anything.
things, and we kind of just went into the groove of hanging out with each other, and then certain things came up along the way.
Mhm.
Right. I think when I got to a certain age and I wanted more out of relationships, then yes, that became the question. Like when a person tells me, what do you want out of a relationship? If they tell me they want honesty, I ask them, what does that look like? You know, like honest that, you know, the easy things, or are you just going to be, do you believe in honesty across the board? Right.
Definitely.
So I do think that there's depending on where you are in life, what you want out of a relationship. I think that question can either be asked on the front end of the initial interactions, or it kind of just kind of like slipped in there along the way, because you realize, hey, this went from a fling to actually like this person to now, damn, I can actually see myself with this person. Now let's have the real conversation. You know what I mean?
You're actually a love snob now. So back then you wasn't a love snob. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
you didn't ask the question because you wanted things to, like you was told things should just flow. If you have a good friend, things just flow. You have a partner, things just flow. And as you got older, you realize like, wait up. I'm getting advice from people who allow things to flow. And now I'm looking at them 10 years, 20 years in, and things are not flowing. So
Well,
why would I follow that? Why
not
would I
even that.
follow that information? I'm not
But
even,
not,
I'm saying that we're just talking about our past. We're talking about our elders. Like a lot of our elders didn't give us the advice necessary. Like you
yeah,
came up
no,
with this, you came up with this through trial and error. And the whole
yeah,
point of us having relationships and having people who are our elders is so we don't have to deal with things through trials and tribulations. We don't have to deal with things through trial and error, through trial and error, right? We don't have to go
yeah.
through trials and tribulations, right? Or it's to lessen the trials and tribulations, right? So they're giving us what their parents gave them and what their parents gave them, as opposed to giving us the real, like, listen, we have this issue in our relationship now. 20 years, this issue has been a problem. We're so tied in, whether it's paying rent together, paying a bunch of bills together, raising children together. We're so tied in that we don't see ourselves parting. So now we feel like we're stuck in a relationship, and we don't want the same thing for you. So I would say go in a relationship and establish your boundaries early before you start adding children and start adding bills and start connecting on those things where you are relying on another person to actually step up. You have to have them discussions first and be clear on the discussion. So when the boundaries is crossed, they're clear. And if you're saying I want honesty, that don't mean I control the honesty too, because a lot of people say they want honesty,
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
yeah, and they control how you're going to be honest. Honesty is its own separate entity. You start the discussion with honesty, and then you find out what's the truth. Like we say all the time, honesty is just what you believe it is from a genuine, honest place. And then the other person is being honest about what they think it is, and then we come to understanding of truth through breaking down what our points are based on the honest interaction, or honest dialogue. So yeah, I would say most people say they want honesty, but we accept lies all the time. So how could we say we want honesty when we're accepting of lies?
Well, that, and also too, like you said, is very, when someone says that they want honesty, they have to be clear on what that is. But it's not just about a person being honest with you. It's about, are they honest with the people around them as well? So because if a person truly believes in honesty, it just doesn't start and end with you. And the
Definitely.
relationship that you have, it's something that they believe in all around. So it sounds good when you're meeting a new person, especially a romantic partner, and they pump, they're sitting across from you and they're telling you like, hey, I really believe in honesty. You can't really, connect with somebody unless you're truly honest with them. And I believe in transparency, but yet they're not transparent with the other people in their lives, then that means that they truly don't believe it. And the signs are always there. Like, it's not just about how people are with you, it's about how they are with other people. And you shouldn't, yes, I know, like, if it's easy to stroke somebody's ego and think that you could bring the best out of another person, and you can. Like, I'm not saying that that's false. You can bring out certain things in people that other people can't, but at the same time, like,
It
it
has to
shouldn't
be there
be,
first.
yes,
And
and it shouldn't
your
just be like something like like honesty. Like, I bring out honesty in you. Maybe you should, if that's truly who you are, then it should be who you are, and that should be
you have to
reflected
be
in
ready
everything.
for honesty, and then I can bring it out further. But it has
Yeah.
to be something that you believe or buy into. It has to be rooted in you at first. And it doesn't mean that you was born with it. It just means that it was planted in you where you're like, oh, now I really believe in this. And then going forward, it's a belief system, so you practice.
I mean, yeah, it's like something like, because if you're around the person that believes in honesty, and you have the space to say what you need to say, how you need to say it, and comfortable saying certain things, then it may be eye-opening, like, wow, like, that's, what it is, that this is the type of relationship, this is what a relationship looks like when you are totally honest with somebody else.
Yep.
Like, I want this to be reflected in my other relationship. So that happens, yeah. But